Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and I left Magnolia Beach today, and I stayed there 6 days because the weather was just so nice there the whole time I was there. Just before that, it was pretty bad in another place, but now I'm in the city of Victoria, which is 35 miles north of Magnolia Beach, and I'm here at one of my favorite RV parks anywhere. So in this video, I'm just going to show you a little bit about this RV park, and then I'm going to tell you about what my experience has been in the weather coming here from Key West, Florida, the whole way where I stayed and how the weather was for this winter. The RV park here is owned by the city of Victoria, and here is the details on it. As you can see, it's $12 a day for full hookups, and there's no host here or anything. You just take one of these envelopes and put it in the box here. It's all self-managed, and it's a nice RV park. All of the spaces here are pull-through. Those there are parked side by side, and here they're all parked parallel. And look how much space there is between units. Look at that. You got plenty of room, much more room than you really need between you and your neighbor. And there's me way over there. The electricity is 20, 30, 50. Got a water faucet and my own sewer dump station. Nice. And look at my front yard. That is gigantic. They could actually have twice as many spaces here as they do now. It's just kind of a mid-size RV park. You don't make reservations, you just show up. I've been here twice, and there's always been plenty empty spaces for more people. Like there, you see. There are other RV parks in town that cost 3 or 4 times as much, and they're going to be tightly packed. So I don't know why anybody would go to any other RV park in Victoria other than this one. Really like it here. Now I'm going to tell you about the weather that I experienced on my trip from Key West, going around the Gulf of Mexico, pretty much staying along the coastline over to where I am now. And then from there, I'm going to go back down to the beach and follow down to the south point of Texas. So starting out at Key West, I stayed there for I think 4 days, 5 days, and it was warm every day. It got cool at night, but during the day it was really warm, and I had to use my air conditioner sometimes, and very, very humid. So when I was done with Key West, I was kind of glad to get out of there. And then in South Florida and going up along here, it was not quite so bad. It was still pretty warm days, nice cool nights, and the humidity started to go away a little bit, not near as bad as it is down in Key West. Now when I got to Tampa, the first day I was there, it was a nice day. The second day I was there, a cold front came through, and it was a high of like 58 degrees, I think, during the day, the whole day. I don't know how unusual that is to be so cold in Tampa, but it was only because this cold front was coming through, very windy, and even though it was clear skies, that second day it was completely clear skies, but still terribly cold. Now going back up Florida coastline to the Panhandle, it was not too bad around there. Warm days, cool nights. It's a lot colder at night along the Panhandle, and the days, of course, not near as warm. Now from there, I went across Alabama and Mississippi. It was fairly nice around here. And then in New Orleans, I stayed in New Orleans for a full week. And while I was there, it just went back and forth from one day to the next. Some days would be clear skies and warm. Some days would be cloudy, raining, and very cold all day long. It would just go back and forth. You never knew. When I would wake up, I would never know, is this going to be a good day or a bad day? So then I continued west over to Texas, and it kind of stayed the same way. This whole trip across here, it was very, very cloudy. Not terribly warm or cold. It was okay. And then when I got down to the beach here in Texas, Surfside Beach, actually Brazoria County Beach, very nice, very clear. The skies just completely cleared up, and I had 3 days there with very nice weather. And then I only spent 1 day here at Chamber Park because I didn't like it there. And then I went over to the Matagorda Bay Nature Park, which I did a video about. And there, the first day I was there, it was really nice and warm. The second day I was there, it turned very cold and unbelievably windy. The windy I've ever felt. My RV was rocking violently all night long. I mean, I was worried that that thing was going to tip over. It was only about 45 mile per hour winds, I found out. But man, it was a little scary. So after 2 days there, I got out of there and I went over to Magnolia Beach, and then everything cleared up. And I think what happened was all that violent wind here just blew the clouds way off into the future. So I stayed at Magnolia Beach for 6 days, and every day it was almost completely clear, very few clouds, and it stayed fairly warm. And most nights, I think about half of the nights, it got pretty cold. But then some of the nights that I was there, I was sleeping with my window open, trying to get cooler. So on my 6th day at Magnolia Beach, I left and went up to Victoria, where I'm staying in the RV park right now. So my basic summary of this trip is that in South Florida, like from Tampa about halfway on down, it's always going to be pretty warm. And when I was here 2 years ago, South Florida, like around Miami and there, it was just unbelievably warm. Some days actually got hot, and that was in February. But when you get about the top half of Florida, then everything dramatically cools off. And along the coast here, it can get pretty cool. But I definitely recommend this trip for a winter trip from Key West, following along the coast. It's a nice place. That whole trip line along the coast is a nice place to spend the winter, anywhere along there. I don't stay very long in one place, as you may know. But if you want to pick a place to spend the winter, pretty much anywhere along that Gulf Coast is going to be a good place to spend the winter. However, keep in mind that no matter where you are, is that there's going to be good days and bad days. And one of the big problems for me is that most of this trip, it was pretty cloudy. And my solar panels did not like that at all. So I had to run my generator to charge my batteries. I would have to run it like 1 or 2 hours a day, because most every day, I would say probably 3/4 of the days it was so cloudy that my solar panels weren't getting much sun. So as far as that goes, and the weather, the temperature, and the raininess, you're simply going to have good days and bad days no matter where you are. I spent some of my winters in the deserts of Arizona, and same thing. No matter where you are, even though you're told that this is a really warm place to spend the winter, you're going to have good days and bad days. When I've stayed in the Arizona desert, most of the time it was nice, but then there's an occasional bad day. That's just going to happen no matter where you are. So your experience may be very different from mine, but like I said, anywhere along the Gulf Coast is a nice place to spend the winter. Just don't expect it to be nice all the time. Good day, folks.